Welcome back to the Liquid Layer. I'm Aaron. In today's video, we have a lot to cover, especially with Lighter, but also Hyperliquid and PumpFun as well, and some macro news, of course, as always. Now let's hop straight into it. Today, the price of Bitcoin is trading around $78,000. It's starting to consolidate and chop around here. We're going to figure out in the next couple of weeks, are we going to be chopping here? Is the price going to go down or up? We'll see what happens. Hyperliquid's been on a really nice rally, and I think this is because of the news related to the USDC fees starting to accrue and stuff like that. The buyback will not happen until October for the USDC revenue stuff for Hyperliquid, but Lighter looking really, honestly looking like a really good entry right here. Today's show is mainly going to be focused around Lighter and the good news that has come out from Lighter in the past couple of days. PumpFun rallying as well. Really, I think for the rest of this bull run and what we've been covering on this channel has been mostly Hyperliquid, Lighter, and PumpFun. Of course, we're going to be covering Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, but in terms of where I think the most RR is going to come from, the biggest rate of return, just in my prediction, is going to be these three: Hyperliquid, Lighter, PumpFun. I think Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin will do good as well, but I think we're just mainly going to focus on these crypto. There's not too many cryptos in the space that are actually good. Most of them are honestly fucking garbage. Just telling the truth. So yeah, as we look at the S&P 500, it's having a barely green day today. So there's that. Let's go to metals. Gold's having a little pullback here. We're going to find out. I guess kind of like Bitcoin, is this rally real or not? So silver sitting around $68. But let's go to our first story of the day in the macro. The U.S. economy grew 1.5% in Q2. I don't really think this is really that notable. And yeah, just kind of wanted to, this is, I guess, the biggest macro story of today. So I wanted to put that out. All right, now to Lighter. Take a look at this. Lighter just had its highest revenue day since February. Take a look at this from Trevor Flipper. He works for the Lighter team. We cover his content here on this channel all the time. Thank you for the tweets, Trevor. Anyways, take a look at this. You can see he points out in his tweet, the revenue has gotten to the highest point since, I guess, February 2nd. So that's good to see that the Lighter protocol is starting to make more and more money. And this is, really good to see and kind of starting to, just the beginning, validate my thesis that the revenue on Lighter will continue to snowball as they gain more partnerships and stuff and they continue to get integrated in more areas. Once again, Lighter and Hyperliquid still do not have the license from the CFTC. I have no clue when it's going to happen, but they are still both very much capped, okay? And if you take a look at this at the premium taker share, you can see that this metric has absolutely skyrocketed on the, I think this is the daily. So really good to see that, the Lighter protocol is continuing to go up. So great stuff to see there. To our next story, another Lighter story. So Ansem quote tweeted Will Price. So Will Price is somebody who's been covering Lighter for a long time. And so here's where the beginning of the story. So this company right here, long.xyz, to be completely honest, I haven't really looked much into it. But basically, they put out a tweet saying, last week we piloted an early alpha of LongX, a new protocol that enables seamless integration with Lighter to turn perp exposure into a composable leveraged spot asset you can hold as an ERC20. This week we plan to expand support for NVDA-related leverage assets while accruing value back to ticker AI. All right, and they go into this whole thing, but basically what you need to know is there is a new partnership that has come for Lighter, okay, in layman's terms. And Will Price put here, most novel Lighter composability so far comes from a meme coin platform, and Ansem says meme-fi. And it's bullish to see Ansem, the number one influencer in crypto, quote tweeting and talking about Lighter on his feed. Anytime Ansem talks about Lighter, it is, or any protocol, it is pretty significant and it draws a lot of attention. And Ansem's completely right here. I think meme-fi is gonna be really big. A lot of, in the crypto space, there's a massive bias towards tokenization, and we all believe in tokenization, especially if you watch this channel, you probably believe in it. But the meme stuff is really not, looked at by institutions and stuff, and kind of like platforms. Even though PumpFun is one of the best performing, protocols in all of crypto, institutions are still kind of like, but I think that will change over time. I think we're going to see, as Ansem says, meme-fi and, companies like PumpFun get taken a lot more seriously by institutions because there's money in it, and at the end of the day, it's about making money. Okay, and it's also really good to see that lighters, this is showing that the world of perp dexes, tokenizations can collide with the world of memes, which is super cool. Now I want to go to this, a new write-up. If you are, really into lighter stuff, the Lighter team put out a new write-up 16 hours ago, and the founder of Lighter put out this tweet saying, "New technical write-up just dropped about Lighter infrastructure for the algorithm nerds out there. Improvements like these improve both latency, TPS, and cost at the same time." So pretty much, based on this tweet and everything, and when I'm looking at this, the platform got better. That's all you need to know, okay? We're not going to go over this whole thing. All you got to know is the platform got better, all right? Now to our next story. I don't know if we covered this yesterday. I wasn't too sure, so I just want to recover it again. So sorry if we covered it yesterday. We're covering it here. Not sure if we did cover it yesterday. But anyways, Lighter partnered with ENS Domains, okay? Now, I know what a lot of you may be thinking, why does this even matter? So ENS Domains, if we're being completely honest, was a huge thing back in 2021, all right? And they, partnered with Lighter. And I think the reason this matters a lot is it's more of a ETH whale type of play here. Now, retail and most people don't give a shit about ENS Domains. And the ENS domain thing is the .eth shit. So that's like it was a big deal in 2021. If we're being completely honest, it never really, that was kind of the top of the domain thing in terms of ENS domains. It was 2021. But there's still a lot of Ethereum whales, a lot of people with a ton of capital, and some of these Ethereum whales are literally billionaires who are a big fan of ENS domains, okay? And ENS domains partnered with Lighter. So I think this is good in terms of I think the Ethereum whales are going to look at this and say, oh, I like this. I'm not sure if this is one where it's like, oh, this is going to bring a ton of users. Definitely not. But it's something where a couple billionaire guys might be like, oh, I like that because I'm an ENS domain kind of guy. Really niche, but important. Also, another story from Lighter. A lot of Lighter today. Good stuff to see. So the guys from ETH Labs spoke to the Lighter team today. Yep. And Benji from ETH Labs says, excited to see what they've got in store. And Trevor commented, ETH is in a better spot with ETH Labs helping. So as I talk about on this channel, and once again, guys, I'm basically just digging up as much research, doing as much research as possible and digging up shit on the internet to try and, hopefully lead us in a good direction. And one thing in this channel that I say basically every day is that the Lighter team's constantly cooking on partnerships. And I just think there's a ton, you're seeing here, all these partnerships come about, and I think there's a ton more to come, and especially when that license comes through, I think there's going to be a lot of liquidity that will be unlocked, all right? Now, yesterday on the show, I told you guys I would, watch this entire show, and I would let you guys know there's actually, what are the important parts? What do you guys actually need to hear? And this is Trevor. Once again, Trevor, we covered his tweet. He is on the show, The Roll Up, which I really like the show. These guys are awesome. They're constantly covering Lighter too, which is really good. And I would say probably the most important part that you guys would actually care about is the host of The Roll Up asks Trevor, I think, and let me see if I can just pull it up right here. I think there's right about here. Let's see. All right, if this thing is going to be slow and loading, I'm not gonna budge with it. All right, too slow. Anyways, basically the host asked Trevor, hey, is there stuff in the pipeline for the main Robinhood app, not the Robinhood crypto app? We know Lighter's in the Robinhood crypto app, but what about the main Robinhood app? And Trevor basically gave a politician's answer and said, hey, we are very flexible, but we can't really talk about what's going on with the main Robinhood app because we need to wait for a US license. So kind of the same thing I've been saying to you guys, where it's I'm suspecting it's going to get in the main Robinhood app at some point, but they literally legally can't right now. So that's pretty much what Trevor said in a nice way. So that is kind of my takeaway from this. And if you're watching this from the Lighter team, for some reason, if you came across my video, keep doing these, they're good. Now let's move on to Hyperliquid. So Hyperliquid Policy Center. This is a team in DC that's, pushing regulation. Tweeted out, oil prices move 24/7. The markets that American businesses use to hedge them do not. Today, Hyperliquid Policy Center and Trade XYZ filed a joint comment letter asking the CFTC to open a regulated path for energy perpetual contracts and 24/7 trading in the United States. During February's oil shock, roughly 2/3 of the weekend price move had already occurred on-chain before U.S. futures reopened on Sunday evening. The next crisis should find American businesses able to manage their risk in real time under CFTC oversight. So TLDR, they're basically saying, hey guys, we have a lot of motion. We need to get this shit legalized. And this is kind of, once again, the same shit I've probably said 5 times in just this episode alone. It's like Hyperliquid and Lighter are basically banging on the door of Washington saying, please give us a license. And yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here. Now take a look at this from Andy. This is the other co-host of the Roll Up. He tweeted out this $180 million in annualized stablecoin revenue from USDC yield deal estimated as of now. Welcome to the next era of Hyperliquid's diversified revenue stack. Be more bullish. And this is really good stuff to see. This, I think it's right here on the actual, right here. If you can see this kind of clear box right here, let me just zoom in. $180 million a year of buybacks will be occurring for Hyperliquid, with the first buyback beginning on October for it. And as the more stable coins get on Hyperliquid, and the same thing with Lighter is the same deal with Circle, as the more stable coins get on Lighter and Hyperliquid, the more money they will make. And they will literally, Lighter and Hyperliquid will literally make money just by having the stable coins on their platform. That's it. And of course, with those fees, Lighter and Hyperliquid will be doing buybacks on their respective tokens. So really good stuff to see. Now let's talk about PumpFun. PumpFun recently had their highest, let me go to LB's post first. Take a look at this. PumpFun yesterday had their highest revenue day since September 2025. So almost a year. In the last 24 hours, Pump had bought back 266 million tokens at an average price of 0.047, $2.5 million in daily revenue, $1.25 million in buybacks. And also, I pointed this out on my Twitter. If you take a look at the daily buyback and burn, I say here on my Twitter, which you guys should all be following your Twitter. If you made it this far in the video, please, link in the description, follow me on X, okay? The daily buyback and burn on Pump continues to go up and to the right. Fundamentals, check. More supply getting taken off the market forever each day. Generational entries here. And I basically pulled this from the official Pump token dashboard. You can see the daily buyback and burn. You can see it is this metric has been up and to the right in the past month or so. So pretty much the PumpFun protocol is starting to make more and more and more money. And it's absolutely ridiculous because the price of Bitcoin's at 78,000. Solana's at like $98. And it's already starting to pull in even more money. It was already printing in a bear market, but imagine Solana at $300, $200, $250, $400. Things could get crazy for PumpFun, in my opinion. Well, that's all we got for today's video. We had a very action-packed video, a lot to talk about with Lighter, Hyperliquid, PumpFun. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Also, make sure you go follow me on X, link in the description. Also, join my Telegram, link in the description. Join my Discord, link in the description. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.